What is up, y'all? It is episode 10 of the Sci-Fly Zone, and today's destination is Ironheart. Episodes 1, 2, and 3 all being reviewed today. Our first review episode. I'm very excited. I was very happy to watch this show. I was looking forward to it coming out. I thought the trailer received some unnecessary hate, in my opinion, but I think, just given the climate of the world today, it's really hard for people not to jump on a series like this, especially with a fairly unpopular character from the comics as well. But, she definitely grew on me throughout watching this show for sure. And I definitely am excited to see more of her in the MCU for sure.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, I was excited to start the show, despite not hearing a ton about it, like getting a lot of media attention for the most part. It was like pretty under the radar. There wasn't a lot of like press runs for this show. They weren't
Yeah,
really like promoting
yeah.
it much, you know. Um, and they went, but it was announced in 2022, so they've been working on this show and apparently already had like a full um like a completely finished but then had to redo it. um but yeah, there hasn't been like a lot of hype about this show in general. There was some like you were saying, like people jumping on it, like people kind of hating on the show before like even watching it, just like preemptively
People love to do
disliking it.
that. I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't know what, like,
yeah.
especially like in the last 3 or 4 years, like people assume so much off of trailers, or like they'll take one screenshot of like
Hmm.
something from a trailer and be like, it's like, dude, this it's supposed to look good in a fluid motion. Like while
Yeah.
you're watching the movie, like not every single still frame is gonna be like an art masterpiece. If you want that, go watch a stop motion. Watch Love, Death, and Robots. Watch stuff like that. If you or watch Across the Spider-Verse. If you're looking for every single frame to be stuff like that. And I don't understand like why people are so quick to like hate on something. Because like me, when I watch stuff, I'm anticipating receiving a project that I will enjoy watching and will want to continue watching and anticipate what will come from it like in the future. Like I don't know
Hmm.
why people don't want to like stuff.
Yeah, totally.
Like,
Yeah, yeah.
it doesn't compute to me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. When I sit down to watch a show, I I hope and want to be entertained. And like I feel like part of that to some extent is on the consumer to like have an open mind going into it and like being open to where they want to take like the story and where they want to take characters. And especially like with Riri, which is a character that we saw a little bit in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, but hasn't really had like a huge screen presence for the most part before now.
Hmm.
Sort of a more like low-key character that hasn't gotten a lot of like individual time, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I mean, I feel like you kind of see this in Marvel definitely, but like in other fan bases too. You see like people like expecting things to go bad or be or like go poorly, like if this is a baseball podcast too, when Juan Soto signed his contract with the Mets, biggest contract ever, people were immediately like 3 weeks into the season when he was struggling, people were like, oh, it's not worth it, he sucks, he's
Yeah,
washed.
3 weeks into a 10-year contract.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, people like, I mean, people just want to be right, I guess, and if you're going into a show expecting it
Yeah.
to be poor, then you're probably going to have a more difficult time enjoying it. But I didn't really have that perspective. So I really enjoyed these first three episodes.
Yeah, and not to say they didn't have their flaws either, of course,
Hmm.
we'll get into that, but like overall, I think it established the character really well, and I'm really looking forward, like I said before, to see her appear in more stuff in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
All right. So, spoiler warning for Ironheart episodes 1 through 3. Here we go. So, to start us off, the show does take place in the year 2025 on the MCU timeline. For reference, Captain America: Brave New World takes place in 2027 on the MCU timeline, which was also referenced in Thunderbolts, which came very shortly after Captain America: Brave New World. So currently the MCU is in 2027. Unless you want to be nitpicky, because the post-credit scene of Thunderbolts did take place 14 months later. So technically they're in 2028.
2028.
But yeah.
We're in the late 2020s. We'll say that.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, 2025, Ironheart. So we follow Ironheart after her brief stint in battling Namor's army in Black Panther 2, along with Shuri, who recently became Black Panther in that movie as well. And she had to build a new suit after she wasn't able to take the vibranium one she built home, because they're like, nah, you ain't keeping this. Sorry. So she goes back to MIT and uses their lab and their resources to rebuild her suit again. And the show immediately starts off with some scenes of her and her best friend Natalie.
The chemistry that these two characters have on screen, I think we got some really great, really fun interactions between them so far.
Mm-hmm. You know, I think it sucks that this series is only going to be 6 episodes, because I feel like they kind of had to jump the gun on revealing like what happened to Natalie and Riri's stepdad. You know, like they did it like almost like halfway through the first episode.
Yeah,
and I
it was
that like that's a big part of her character, but like if I feel like if this show were to be 10 episodes long, like that's an episode 3 or 4 thing.
Yeah, I agree. They definitely introduced that pretty quickly into the show, but like you said, with 6 episodes, they only have so much time. Yeah, I would be interested to see what a show with more episodes of this show, maybe see them like flesh out that a little bit more. But yeah, it seems like I mean, so far it's been a huge driving force to who Riri is as a person, and why she decides to make the decisions that she does.
Yeah, and Ironheart is like the last of the like series that were made under the like quote unquote 6 episode formula. Like, you know how like post COVID a lot of the Disney Plus series that we were getting were only 6 episodes.
Yeah,
Loki, Moon Knight, WandaVision, Winter Soldier. I could keep going. But yeah, but Daredevil is changing the formula. Daredevil Born Again. Not only did that show receive more than 6 episodes, Kevin Feige did confirm that they're going to make a season for that show every single year, and it's going to be getting 10 to 12 episodes every year. So Marvel is really changing their TV shows into like feeling more like an actual TV show, rather than some people saying, you know, it feels like long movies per se.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Oh, I didn't know. I never heard that announcement. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Every year they're gonna be making a new season. That's every year. Pretty cool.
At least, okay, they said they're gonna try to.
Okay, yeah, because
you know, like maybe like a year and a half, like every other year or something like that. You know, like they're gonna be busy, but you know, Marvel does have like a whole division now devoted to television as well. So I think that also plays a factor in them changing the dynamics of how they're making their TV shows, and I think it's going to result in the better. I mean, Agatha was a great step up in TV show quality, in my opinion, for sure, and I think that's also carrying over into this show. Like, even though it is part of that formula, I think it being released now, it has some of that mindset going into the editing process a little bit. I feel like it is paced a little fast, but I do still feel like they like overall they're pacing things really well.
Yeah, I think they're handling it really well so far. I feel like I mean, I mentioned earlier how like I didn't hear a lot of like press for this show coming out, you know? I feel like in the past, Marvel has kind of put a lot more attention on like the movies and like the rollouts for the big like, you know, like Infinity War and Endgame, and then obviously they're putting a lot of effort in Doomsday and Secret Wars.
Fantastic Four.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, the big movies, because those kind of like, I mean, they draw in more, like you earn more from those
Yeah, definitely.
if they're
Yeah,
going to be like super successful, right? So like, it's cool to see that they have like their own section of like workers for the TV shows, and like how they're like really like actually spending like specific time, like committing the effort to the shows,
yeah.
because um there could have been a world where like they just start releasing like a bunch of shows that they don't really put a ton of effort in, that are just kind of like kill time until the movies come
Yeah.
out.
It felt like we were falling down that path for a bit,
Yeah, for sure.
but
But
yeah, I'm glad the narrative is shifting, like you were saying.
yeah, completely.
But yeah, let's stay focused.
Yeah.
um, so yeah, Riri is struggling to pay for her suit because one of the biggest points that she makes in this show is that Tony Stark was able to do the things that he was because he was a very rich man. And that is a good point. Like, it is valid. Like, having a lot of money gives you a lot more freedom to tap into different resources and also try a bunch of different things and be able to fail and come back and not have it be an extreme detriment to what you're trying to accomplish in the long run. But Riri, she has to make everything count with every little decision that she does. And also we see that she's doing some questionable things in order to get her cash, which I don't blame her. I mean, it seemed like all she was doing was just homework assignments for other students, which I mean, like I know they're like really like harping on plagiarism and stuff, but
Mhm.
she's I'm giving her the pass. I'm giving her the pass. She's making an iron suit. She's trying to be, best of the best. And at the end of the day, even though she is doing like those questionable things, I do feel like at her iron heart,
Nice.
she is a good person.
Yeah, I totally agree. I've been very interested in the sort of like morally gray actions that she's had. Like, I mean, this isn't the only morally gray thing that
Yeah,
she's
she
done
actually
in the
makes
show.
mistakes, which I
Yeah,
find interesting.
yeah, totally. Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like it kind of shows like her level of desperation in a way. Like you said, she doesn't have the resources that like the billionaires have. Like that's made a big point in the show a
Yeah.
couple times, that like she doesn't really have that safety net, like you said, that Stark had with his billions of dollars, because he's allowed to fail because he has all that money, and it gives him the opportunity to try different things, you know. um,
Mhm.
but with Riri, she has to like scrap for everything she can get, even literally, because later in the episode, she goes to the scrapyard to like try to get
Yeah,
um,
and literally, I
pieces.
mean, and also like to go off your point, I mean, like Tony Stark was born into an empire,
Hmm.
like he was an heir to the throne, basically, to like the biggest private weapons manufacturer in the world.
Yeah.
And not only that, his dad laid the groundwork for him to develop a whole new element in Iron Man
Hmm.
2.
Right.
like
Yeah,
like
yeah,
like he was left with so much to like work with.
yeah, totally. Yeah.
He had like everything, and even though, yes, his parents tragically died, and that
Hmm.
and that like did like majorly factor into his behavior and his actions, like they died leaving him so much. And
Hmm.
Riri, it like she her stepdad died, and she lives with her single mom, who
Hmm.
seems to like just be like comfortably getting by,
Yeah.
especially in the suburbs of Chicago as well.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's two very different experiences between Riri and Tony Stark growing up. And it's cool to see uh like how Riri's environment forces her to make certain decisions that
Hmm.
Tony Stark like didn't make or didn't have to make. And not to take anything away from like Tony Stark at all. Obviously, he did some like really great, incredible things. But he did have like like Riri said, he wouldn't be the Iron Man that we know of if it weren't for like the resources that he had, you know?
Mhm. Definitely. Yeah, so she's at MIT for 4 years, working on her new suit, while still trying to, pass her classes or whatever. And we catch up on the show with her working on her suit, and an experiment goes very wrong, resulting in I'm gonna assume is like the vice president or some
Mhm.
higher up figure at MIT. He was actually briefly in Captain America Civil War after Iron Man
Yeah.
gave that speech, and
Hmm.
he had the hot dog contraption idea.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so experiment goes wrong on her trying to do stuff with her suit, and she is trying to fight with the school, saying like, you guys are trying to hold me down, you guys are trying to limit me, and the school is like, that's a bunch of crap, and you know it. You've been here for over 4 years using our resources, and this program that you're saying that you're trying to accomplish, she's trying to, at least, I don't know, like, I feel like part of her wants to do this, but I feel like also part of this was just a ploy for her to get access to work on her suit. But she said that she had an idea to make multiple suits to help first responders get to places
Mm.
quicker and help people faster and more efficiently. And she wasn't able to do that within her 4-year program. So that results in her getting expelled. But
Yeah.
she was able to get enough done on her suit to fly away. But what's funny is, in the suit, there's an AI system that was created by MIT. So it is therefore controlled by MIT. So she sets her out back home to Chicago. And right as she gets there, they realize that, she took the suit, and they cut off complete access to the suit, causing her to crash and
They
land.
just
Yeah.
Yeah, they just hit the power button. They just turn it off. They turn the
Yeah.
suit off, and she just falls to the ground.
Yeah.
Which the damage done to the street and Riri laying out spells out Ironheart for the
Hmm.
title card, which I thought there were some pretty cool environmental title cards that they have. I
Yeah. I
think that
thought
was a
that was
nice
really
touch.
cool.
Yeah, there was like a street named Ironheart that they zoomed in on at one point.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, it is similar to Suicide Squad. They did that a couple times
Mm.
too. I'll throw up a screenshot here of that. But yeah, but while she's flying by in Chicago, someone notices her. I mean, I'm sure a lot of
Yeah.
people noticed her, but in
Yeah.
particular, known as the Hood, Parker Robbins,
Yep. Yep. Yeah, man.
and he is played by. You want to say it?
Anthony Ramos, baby, my guy, Anthony Ramos. Just an incredibly talented actor and performer in general. I mean, he's like a singer, he's an actor, he does it all. He had some, so far at least, he's had some like incredible scenes and performances in this show. I really like uh, what he's been doing, and I think he was a great choice for this character.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he steals every single scene that he's in. You know what I
Absolutely, yeah,
mean?
100%, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like he's able to pull off a lot of different personality traits in the performance for sure.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. He's got a really a great range.
Yeah, like when we see him, like he's a little intimidating, but like he has like a little bit of a soft spot to him,
Yeah,
like he's able to care, but he's also able to do stuff that is questionable.
yeah,
He's
totally.
able to pull off both sides really well.
Yeah, yeah, he could seem like chill and reasonable at sometimes, but you know that like lying underneath, there's like he could always like snap and like you can get the other side of him, you know?
Mhm. So, for those who don't know, the Hood, uh, so basically, the character in the comics he's just a guy, and he
Mm.
finds this hood, and he puts it on, and it's later on revealed that the hood is imbued with a very small percentage of power from Dormammu in the Dark Dimension,
Mm.
which Dormammu was the villain in Doctor Strange 1, if you guys remember. that movie ended with Doctor Strange trapping Dormammu in a forever endless time loop, with it just going on forever and ever and ever, keeping them both stuck in the same time loop until eventually Dormammu pleaded with Doctor Strange in exchange for Earth's safety and no influence from Dormammu or his followers whatsoever. So now, you know, and also 8 years later in Doctor Strange 2, we're introduced to a character named Clea in the Doctor Strange 2 post-credit scene, and she pulls up and says, "Hey, Strange, you caused an incursion, my guy, and we need to fix it." And she cuts a hole in reality, literally, and where do they go? The dark dimension.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't know if this is a more like tease at more dark dimension stuff. Another rumor that I heard into what is going to be powering the Hood potentially is Mephisto, the devil of the MCU. So that would be really cool too. And that would make a bit more sense to me just with how wrapped up the dark dimension was in Doctor Strange 1. But yeah, do you think this is going to be more Mephisto stuff?
I do, yeah. I think this could be Mephisto. I think it would make sense. There's been some scenes of like, I mean, there's kind of like a theme of like, you know, like, well, they've mentioned like souls several times in the show, and there's some scenes with the Hood like monologuing, but like he's speaking to like this presence or this force that he seemingly is getting the Hood's power from, you know. And there's a lot of like there's a scene, not necessarily gonna spoil like what leads up to the scene, but there's a scene where the Hood's like yelling out to this presence, like, "Is this what you wanted? Is this what you planned for? Was this supposed to happen?" And it seems to me like it could be that by getting the power from the Hood is essentially like selling his soul to the devil in a way. And that's kind of like, or like where he gets his power, you know. And then obviously like with the scars
and it's
going
like
down his
slowly
back.
corrupting him.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Kind of like the Darkhold.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, I think it would make sense for it to be Mephisto. There was a guy standing in the street, like in a really quick scene. He had he was wearing like a chimney sweeper's hat, and he had on a black suit with a red button-up shirt. And I don't know if that's like, I don't know if I'm like stretching it with that, or if that's like a little teaser. Maybe he's gonna be like playing the character of Mephisto, but
Podcasts are meant for stretches.
yeah, totally. Yeah. It's yeah, we're not writing the show, you know, we can come up with ideas. So yeah, I think Mephisto could be a really cool piece of this show.
Yeah, definitely. And as we get into the other episodes, we'll dive into more as to what could possibly tie into that theory as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, along with the Hood, he also has a crew that he does heists with, which is pretty cool. I do like that they have like a pretty like grounded crew to like do their heist stuff, but they are not that good at their job. Everyone else besides Hood, like, I don't understand why he's like having everyone else. Like, I understand like if you're the main guy, you don't do the job yourself, but he's so OP.
Yeah, he could
Like
totally
he can go invisible. You know,
yeah.
like when okay, so the Hood, when he holds his breath, he goes invisible, and also he has magic bullets.
Yeah,
which is pretty cool.
Pretty crazy.
But yeah, so along with that, he has a crew that he does heists with, and what's funny is also Eric Andre is part of this crew. He gets a little cameo. Shout out to Eric Andre, Rampage, as he wants to be called. But yeah, so what's funny is they put on this little like strip on the door that they're trying to break into for the heist, because they're breaking into a house, and the little piece ignites, sending the handle off the door so they could open the door without them actually needing to touch it, because the strip covered the thumbprint. Once they actually blew the door open, one of them just firmly grasped the freaking door with their whole hand.
Yeah.
Just right after. I'm like, do you want to get caught? What are we doing? But yeah, so they do that to get some information on their next heist that they're gonna do, which is gonna be robbing a big corporation named Tunnel. But yeah, so moving on to what happened. So she crashes, Ironheart, she crashes after the AI was turned off. So she loses control of the suit and it's effectively turned off. And she meets this little kid standing outside what I believe to be a grocery store or a liquor store. And he says, you know, you're attracting a lot of attention wearing that suit. What if I just help you carry it? And then she's like, fine. And I thought the dynamic between her and that little kid was pretty fun. You know, it's cool to see a civilian's perspective in this whole universe, and just see like a little innocent kid, you know, just like getting by day, and then he sees a little opportunity to make a quick buck off her. He's like, okay, hey, now that I carried your stuff, $20.
Yeah, he tells her at the end that she has to give him $20 now. It's funny. Yeah. I really like those interactions they had together. Landon, I think, was his name. Yeah,
it's Landon money.
Great. Yeah, he sure is. But she did not land on the ground.
Well, she didn't land on her feet.
Yeah. That's right. She landed on her face.
Yeah. She's looking for parts, and what happens is one of the Hood's guys who noticed her flying by notices that she lives in the area, so he follows her while she's looking for parts, and he buys her parts for her. Very nice of him. And he does that to win her over, basically, because she's obviously trying to get stuff for her suit, and he's like, hey, if you work for us, we can give you money, no strings attached. It's like, okay, maybe. So they say, hey, meet here at our base tomorrow early in the morning, go to the elevator and meet us on the second floor. So it's like, a little shady. All right, that's
First of all, why do you have to take the elevator if you're going to the second floor? Just take the stairs.
Elevator at the pizza shop. That's already sus.
Exactly. Yeah, just take the stairs, baby.
Yeah. So she goes in the elevator, and obviously it's a trap.
100%.
But it's not only a trap, it's also a test. Because if she can make it out, then she takes Eric Andre's job. Rampage. She takes his job. And not only does she win the test, she does it in the way not that they thought she was going to do it. Basically, the elevator fills with gas that is going to make the air no longer breathable in the span of 3 minutes. So she has 3 minutes to break open a device that'll give her the gas mask to breathe the air and then get out. So she's like, F that, I'm just gonna hot wire the elevator, rip off the handle, and crank the door open before the time runs out. Which is pretty cool, you know, just shows that she can do things under her own initiative.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a really cool scene. Really shows like kind of how like Riri's brain works. I mean, obviously she's like an incredibly like smart person. There's been scenes like building up like how smart she is. Like she started college when she was like 15.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a cool showing of what she can really do. Without the suit, also.
Exactly. So so obviously initially she's like, what the hell, you try to kill me. Hood's like, it's not personal. We just want to make sure you're capable. It's not about what we did, it's about what you did. What you did was awesome.
Was great.
Yeah. And she's like, well, you know, not gonna lie, I don't want to work for you because you seem shady and sus. And he's like, all right, I get that, so how much is it gonna cost? And she's like, you don't have that kind of money. And then he opens up a box with that kind of money.
With that,
and then her face is just
yeah. He's like, oh, I actually
think I was gonna have to contemplate this.
yeah, that was funny.
So he's like, hey, if you you know what, I'll give you money right now. If you agree to do the next 3 jobs with us, we'll give you a lot more money after the fact. And she's like, fine, but after that I'm done. And she wants to use the money for her suit, so I get it. So she comes home and then, you know, talks with her mom for a bit, just being like, you know, things are kind of hard. I miss Gary, I miss Natalie, you know, it's all your fault. It's not your fault. I'm sad. I'm frustrated. So eventually she gets cracking on her suit because, like I mentioned, that she got tapped out of the AI from MIT. So then
Yep.
she is developing a new AI so that she can get fully integrated into the suit. And so the episode ends off with her trying to make a new AI for her suit because she's like I previously mentioned, she took the suit from MIT, but she was locked out because it was run under MIT servers and the MIT AI. So she's currently locked out of the suit. So now she's trying to rework it and trying to do a new AI so she can have complete control of the suit. And she's doing this by a technology that she created where she is scanning her brain so that the AI can come from her brain so that it can be as in sync with her and can understand her as best as possible. But what she did not anticipate was this AI forming in the form of her best friend, Natalie, who passed away.
Yeah.
So now the scan took 4 hours for it to be complete. So she dozed off while the scan was complete, and when she woke up, Natalie, the newly created AI, was like, "Hey girl, wake
Yeah.
up." She's like, what?
Yeah.
She's like, "Is that Natalie?" She's like, "Who else would it be, bitch?"
Is that my dead best friend? And then she went back to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is great. I like. I mean, there's gonna be some great interactions between Natalie and Riri in future episodes, and I like how they made her physical, or the AI's physical form, Natalie, because like you were saying, like she wanted to scan something that would know her like better than anyone else, you know, and in her case, it's her best friend.
Yeah, and I love that, like, and also, fun fact, that was pulled straight from the comics. Straight from the comics. Yeah, Ironheart makes an AI of her best friend who passed away.
Wow.
Literally straight from the comics. Beautiful.
Mm.
So that kicks us off into episode 2. Pretty good way to end episode 1. Definitely felt like a cliffhanger to it, and an end of the TV episode for sure. So not like that movie format necessarily that we were talking about with previous shows feeling to have.
Right.
So their banter, like from this point forward, I think it's just hilarious because like Riri is just like so apprehensive like to her existence at all in the first place because she's still traumatized from the death of her friends. So now not only is there a fully physically looking real AI in front of her, it has her cadence, it has her little mannerisms, and everything else. Like her mom said, the Natalie you created is so like incredible. It's so beyond what is thought to be possible with AI. But Riri hates it. Like she's like, she wants her to go away. She calls her a mistake, and she's like, "Who are you calling a mistake? Like, what? You made me."
Yeah.
And what's funny is initially the AI thought she was real, so then she was like, "If I was real, could I do this?" And then her hand faces right through the thing, and she's like, "Okay,
maybe I'm not real."
Well, what is real?
Yeah, she just starts questioning reality and everything about
And another funny thing too was while Ironheart was just like berating her, she said, "Houseway."
Yeah.
How?
Yeah, that was funny. That was great. Yeah.
But yeah, so basically she's dealing with the AI stuff, but eventually Riri's like, whatever, I have to go meet up with this guy because I need to work on my suit for the job, because they're gonna do the job tonight, and it's a big one. It's a big step in this grand scheme of things. So she's like, fine, it's at home charging, but fine. So she goes back home, and she is asking Natalie, "Hey, can you pull up Rampage's profile, Eric Andre's character?" And she's like, "What? Why?" And it's because she thinks that he has a connect to get access to enhancements for her suit. with the signing bonus that she just got from the hood. So she's like, okay, fine, but I already did it. I knew you were gonna ask. She goes and meets up with this guy in like a pretty nice neighborhood, and spoiler, it ends up being Obadiah Stane's son Ezekiel. And for those who don't remember, Obadiah Stane was the villain in Iron Man 1, the guy who tried to kill Tony Stark, tried to set him up, get him killed. It's his son. But what I love is they characterize him as a very funny, soft guy who's like really hilarious. And yeah, I love it.
Yeah, he's great. I love his character. Crazy callback. Isn't Iron Man the first Marvel movie that was ever released?
It was the establishing movie of the MCU.
Yeah, so that's a pretty cool reference there.
Yeah, it makes sense. Obviously, it was in Iron Man's character, so it makes sense to continue that storyline as well.
Yep, absolutely.
But what I love even more is the casting of the character as well. The guy who played Solo in the Solo movie.
Yeah,
he's great.
Yeah,
I don't remember the name of him right now off the top of my head. I'm gonna put a picture in his name, but yeah, he's great.
Yeah, he's been really good. I was surprised when you told me that it was the guy that played Solo while we were watching it, because I didn't like forget that movie happened, but I hadn't seen that actor in any other films or any shows or anything since.
He was recently in Oppenheimer, actually.
Pretty
big character in Oppenheimer.
That's a big movie that I still haven't seen. People are going to be upset that I haven't watched that.
Hey, you know what CJ has made fun about his life in the way that he structured it up to this point is he hasn't seen a lot of things, so now he can experience them for the first time.
Exactly.
And a lot of people can't say that they have at this point in their life.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So props to you, brother.
Yeah, I feel like everyone's got like a movie or a show or something where they're like, I wish I could see that again for the first time, you know? I can, because I haven't seen a lot of these.
Yeah, for those who have seen the first episode, I did say that, CJ actually started getting into the lore and things, within the past few years for a lot of the bigger universe stuff. So it's cool to see his perspective on things, given that.
Yeah, it's cool to experience it. Yeah.
So yeah, Ezekiel Stane, great character. His initial name before being revealed to be Ezekiel Stane was hilarious. His original name was Joe McGillicuddy.
Yeah. Don't know why they went with that.
I don't know. It's a very hilarious code name for sure. But yeah, their banter is great. Riri initially takes advantage of the fact that he is actually living in a guy's house that he's not supposed to be living in, because he did some black market stuff and he's obtained all of his weapons and bio weapon stuff through the black market. So Riri's like, if you don't give me your stuff, I'm just gonna call the FBI.
Yeah.
It's like, fine.
I guess I don't want to go to prison forever, so I'll help you out.
It was really funny. Like on the way there, he just started crying. He's like, it just happens involuntarily sometimes. It'll pass. I'm just upset that I have to lose all my stuff. But then they end up singing a song together after.
I know, yeah. I think it was a Alanis Morris set. I think. Yeah. That was funny.
Yeah, and he's like, I didn't think of you to be a fan of them. And Riri's like, I'm a complicated creature, Joe. Complicated creature.
Yeah, she's got layers. She's like an onion.
Yeah. So eventually, she's amazed with all of the stuff that he has, and she's able to give herself some enhancements on her suit for the job. So she meets back with everyone, and what they're gonna do is there is this new company called Tunnel. And what Tunnel is doing is they are building a new transportation system under the city of Chicago in a way to improve transportation. And it obviously looks to just be another way for rich people to get places quicker. It looks like it's just going to be something that people really can't afford unless they make a lot of money. And it also seems to be based on the characterization of it, based on the heist crew. I understand the high screw would probably have a negative opinion on it, considering they're trying to screw it over, but they did say that it was just a bunch of rich people screwing poor people over. So that's a pretty understandable cause for why they would want to heist this in the first place.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, so basically the heist is going into the tunnel, because the tunnel is still being made right now, and the CEO of the tunnel is going to be doing a test run of it. And what they want to do is shut down the system and have the Hood, who has the ability to turn invisible when he holds his breath, go into her car while she isn't noticing, hold his breath until they break down the system, and then say, hey, we just broke down your stuff. Sign this contract and give us a bunch of equity in the company, amongst other things. So that's the plan. So Riri was going to go in there and hide under one of the cars and then implant a virus into the system. But what happens is her AI, remember, Natalie, she scares her and taps into a wireless connection that is separate from the comms of the crew, and she scares the crap out of her, and Riri drops the freaking thing holding the virus. So now they have to improvise, and what happens is they have to get a car off the platform, as that will shut the system off, because a car off the platform is very dangerous. But what is dangerous about this is this doesn't go successfully, the platform that Riri is going to be attached to during this whole process, it could crush her entirely. But luckily, they do everything right, and they get the car off the platform, and they get the system off. And what results is the plan going exactly as intended. The Hood gets the tunnel CEO to not only sign over access to the tunnel, equity in the company as anonymous contributors, and also 6-figure salaries for everyone.
Yeah, they made out like a band-aid
and benefits.
Yeah. yeah. This is cool.
Yeah, and while the crew was obtaining control of the control room, I want to add, they left a lot of DNA again. like in one of the scenes of them leaving, like the girl literally grabs one of the guards' wallets and takes his money, just holding the wallet, and just tosses it back
and just leaves it there. Yeah, here, have my finger.
Like, I don't know how they haven't gotten caught, or at least on any sort of major cops radar or anything, but yeah. So they get a bunch of control. Pretty crazy. They are establishing themselves as a major crime organization. For sure.
Yeah.
Scary. But while Riri's leaving, something bad happens. A security guard notices her. She wasn't expecting it. And while she was talking to Natalie, her AI, so since the AI is so advanced and unique, and it came from Riri's memories are also implanted into the AI. So because Riri remembers that her friend died from a gunshot wound, when Natalie AI sees a real gun in her AI life for the first time, she completely freezes and does not obey any of Riri's commands. And the cop's like, hey, stop, get out of your suit with guns, like, go, like, stop, like, stop what you're doing. And Natalie's not listening to any of Riri's commands. Like, Riri's saying, like, hey, pull my helmet down, turn my suit on, we need to go. And she's just not listening. So then the Hood pulls up with his magic pistols, and he shoots them, and the bullets can curve to his will, similar to Yondu's arrow, if you will. And shoots the guard with his magic pistol, curving it around Riri, saving her because the cop was going to shoot her because she wasn't listening. So eventually Riri gets away, and Natalie is discussing with her, like, hey, while the power was down, I was trying to analyze some of the Hood's power, and I couldn't analyze it. I couldn't do it. I don't know what is going on with that Hood, but it is not from here. it's weird.
Yeah.
Which definitely ties more into the Mephisto stuff for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And Natalie also apologized, you know, for lagging and stuff, but Riri just says like, look, I understand you think it's weird, but we deal with aliens, androids, wizards, and this is the word she says, we deal with these on our timeline every day.
Yeah.
I just think that's really interesting verbiage, you know, on
Yeah.
our timeline.
Yeah, that feels like a very specific term that they wanted to use. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious what she could mean by that, or what she could be referring to.
You know, like, I understand she's super intelligent, but I wouldn't be surprised if she does have a bit of knowledge or has researched theories on the multiverse.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's not her
Yeah.
area of expertise, but I wouldn't put that past her.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah, so she kind of just brushes off that Natalie is concerned about the hood in the first place because Riri needs the money and she needs it bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of like the moral gray area. Like she doesn't want to like be doing crimes or be a part of a crime ring, you know, but she feels she needs resources in some way.
Yeah, definitely. So after the job, Riri goes home and her friend, what was her friend's name again?
Xavier.
Xavier. Yeah, so Xavier invited her out to a Saba concert. For those who don't know, rapper Saba is also from Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
So it's super cool that they had a Chicago rapper cameo in the show. And he did a little concert. And yeah, he did a little song for the show. Pretty cool. And they had Riri and Xavier hanging out there and just kind of exchanging stories and feelings about missing Natalie and their stepdad and just being human.
Yeah. This was a great scene. Great conversations between Xavier and Riri. I was so excited that Saba actually performed. I didn't think there was going to be any like on-screen like cameo from him. I thought it would just be like maybe like a throwaway line. But yeah, this was really cool.
Yeah, 100%. So while they're hanging out there, the hood is recovering from the job because it seems like while he uses the hood longer, it affects him more, or like it corrupts him more. Like,
yeah,
because when he's using the hood, it seems like if you can see on his back, like the veins are like going more and more down his body, and he's having his cousin, who's also part of the crew, tattoo over them to cover them up, which I think is interesting.
Yeah. Really cool visual to show the effect that the hood and whatever like entity is controlling or giving it the power is like the effect that it's having on him. And like the way he's like dealing with it, like his brother tattooing over the scars, like that's gotta be dreadfully painful.
Yeah, and he says, you know, it's the price I gotta pay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, kind of going back to maybe he sold his soul or sold something to get these powers.
And also, what did he make the CEO of Tunnel sign? A contract.
Ooh, true. That's true.
And you know, she signed away part of herself in exchange for her safety.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. That's
How
a good
about
point.
that?
I didn't even connect that.
Yeah, I just thought about that right now. But yeah, the episode ends with Riri coming home from the show and her mom just being like, you know, I'm happy you're home, happy you're kind of hanging out doing stuff. Also, Natalie is crazy. Like, I talked to Natalie for a bit, the
Yeah.
AI. She's really cool. What if you made one of your dead stepdad for me?
Yeah, bro.
Just straight up.
Yeah.
Like no precursor, like make one of your dead stepdad for me. Could ya? And she's like, Mom, I don't even know how the hell I made Natalie. Like, I don't understand how Natalie came about. Like, and I can't make Gary.
Yeah, bro. That was a super heavy scene.
Yeah, kind of out of pocket. Like, you know,
yeah,
like earlier in the show, she was saying like, you know, you haven't been here in a while. You haven't, you know, haven't been thinking about the effects of their death, you know,
Mm,
in this area of town. So like, you know, you need some time to get it. And then all of a sudden she's asking something that she should know is holding a lot of emotional weight, especially for someone like Riri, who she should know what has panic attacks about this
yeah,
exact thing.
totally. Yeah, who was there to like see it all happen? Like, yeah, this was super heavy. I mean, especially like after just dropping that she knows about Natalie, like not even like letting that sit and like getting to figure out like how or why it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Just like asking for Riri to make a reincarnation of her late stepdad is like, I mean, that was a lot.
Yeah, for sure. So the episode ends off with Ezekiel Stain's character. Previously in the episode, he was dealing with a neighbor who doesn't really respect his house or his property because her dog keeps pooping on it.
Yeah.
So he is throwing away a live, laugh, love sign. And he steps in another thing of dog poop. And he's like, you know what? I am tired of people walking over me and not caring about my stuff. So he walks over to her house and starts clipping a bunch of her flowers. But you know what? Like, you know what? Screw your property. If you're not going to respect mine, I'm not going to respect yours. And this is the start to a brand new transformation for his character, which is going to evolve more as the show goes on, which I'm really excited to dive into.
Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be great. I thought this was kind of a funny way to end it. I like with super dramatic music. Like this is the moment he snapped, and what does he decide to do? Goes over to his neighbors and cuts the flowers. Like that's
Yeah, and it actually ended with the song that that him and Riri were singing
oh yeah,
in the car.
yeah. That's right. Yeah. So yeah, I thought that was a great way to end the episode. I'm excited to see what they do with Ezekiel's character going forward.
Yeah, same man. All right, moving on to episode 3 of the release of Ironheart. So the episode begins with one of the members of Hood's crew. Her name is Clown. Certainly behaved like one in this scene. She came out wearing his hood.
Yeah,
And everyone, you should have seen everyone's face. They looked around like, this is not good.
yeah,
Not
yeah.
good. Not good. They're like, what are you doing? And she's like, I've been trying to crack the code for years. It's so cute. And everyone's like, take it off. You're gonna
Yeah.
die. So yeah, everyone's immediately concerned that she cracked the code of the vault holding the hood, because he stores it inside a vault with a code because it's dangerous. He knows
Yeah.
how dangerous it is.
Yeah, totally.
So his cousin, the one who's kind of like second in charge per se, he comes in, takes the hood from her, and kind of gets aggressive with her because he knows how dangerous it is. And like everyone's kind of getting pressed at how aggressive he's getting, but like I think he's the only logical one in the room in this situation right now. Like he knows firsthand how dangerous it is and how much it's affecting Parker. So he needs to know, like everyone needs to know that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. He's like the only one who really like knows the full like effect that the hood has, aside from like Parker knows more than anybody, but like John sees it firsthand. You know, he's the one who's like having to tattoo over the scars, and like he's seeing what effect the hood is having on him. So like it makes sense that he'd be the most adamant that she needs to like leave it alone. You know?
Yeah, and you know, I wonder if, because the hood wasn't present when this happened, so I wonder if he was just happened to not be there, or if he was waiting to see if she would actually get it.
Oh, maybe it was like he tested Riri. Maybe he is like actively testing his other like group members to make sure to like see their loyalty.
Yeah, but he still kept her in the crew after. So I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah. And he was like he was kind of trying to calm John down too. Like he seemed like it was less of a big deal to him than it was to John.
Yeah, he is really good at talking people down, the hood. He's really good at making sure everyone kind of stays on track and, you know, actually just doing things that benefit him.
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
Like, but he's really good at wording it in a way that seems like, no, you know, like just stay on track, you know, do your job, you know, that, you know, if you do your job, you know, that's what matters.
Yeah.
So yeah, Riri is currently trying to get more stuff for her job because this job for this heist, she needs to get into a biotech company's facility, and they have very good radars and detectors for weapons. So basically, Ezekiel Stain, he has this biomesh material that can cover up the detection of these weapons, and she needs it in order to execute her plan of or her part of the job. And basically, what they're hoping to do with this job is similar to last job with Tunnel. Basically, just threaten them to the point where they sign over complete control or majority control of the company, so that the Hood can be the one running the show anonymously. And what's funny is, his cousin is like, hey, I don't know if we should do this job. I couldn't really find much on the guy for us to threaten him with. And he's like, I want to do it. I want to do it. And he's like, all right, well, I guess just F my opinion then, right? And he's like, no, it's not like that. It's just, okay, you know what? Fine. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. Maybe we shouldn't do the job. And then the guy who is another higher up of Tunnel appears on TV right after and says, yeah, we're going to get these petty criminals who are just trying to make a quick buck off us. And then immediately Hood's like, nah, we're doing the job tonight.
Back on.
I ain't going to let him talk down on my name like that, bro. I'm doubling down. We're doing this job. And then his cousin's like, all right, so it is F my opinion then.
Yep.
And he's like, nah, dude, it's just you don't see the bigger picture, dog. And as soon as he said that, his cousin was like, you're right. You're right. You're right. You're fine. If you want to do the heist, fine. Because I ain't gonna mess with your invisibility or your magic bullets. It ain't worth it. We'll just do the heist. Yep. So while they're setting up the heist, Riri is still trying to work on her suit, as previously mentioned, and she's at home working on it. And Ezekiel comes knocking on her door, and her mom's like, why is there this sweaty middle-aged white man standing at my door? And he's just standing there like, he's like I'm like 32. I'm not.
I'm solo, okay?
Yeah. So yeah, that was when he convinced Riri to look at the plans for the biomesh stuff. It was just a little funny scene there, between the banter between Riri's mom and Ezekiel. I thought that was awesome.
yeah, that was funny. And Xavier actually, or no, not Xavier, Ezekiel, kind of used some of the learning that Riri gave him. I mean, she told him earlier in an episode, hey, you need to like stand up for yourself more. You got to demand respect,
Like
you
he
can't
did with his neighbor at the end of the episode.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, you got to cut their flowers, you can't like let people be stepping all over you. And this time Riri tries to push back and he says, nope, we're gonna do this my way. I want to do this. Is 6 okay? Actually, no. Yeah, 6 is okay. Yep, we're gonna do 6 o'clock.
Yeah. We are showing up. You're showing up at my house at 6 o'clock because I know you need my stuff. So you're gonna meet here at my house on my time to get my stuff because I know you need it.
Yeah,
so,
great. Yeah.
And then she's like, all right, you know what? Fine, whatever. I don't have time to like argue with you. And then he walks away. And he's like, thank you for teaching me to stand up for myself.
yeah, totally. Yeah, he's a good learner. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was a fun scene.
Yeah, it's so funny too because like after all that, she's working out the suit. Remember she was in her room and she's just like yelling at the frog.
Yeah.
Yeah, the frog's like, what did I do? So Natalie has now established that she can control the suit herself, so she can like independently work it as if Riri was in it, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
And this episode also saw Natalie trusting Riri a lot more, which I think is really awesome. In order for them to work better together, they have to trust each other more. And for Riri to finally like trust Natalie and kind of get over her trauma a bit more in regards to her is pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought it was great. It's an interesting way of her for her to cope, you know, like she's trying to get over the loss of her friend while at the same time she's interacting with this AI that is basically like everything that like Natalie was, except like just not like alive, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I thought it was there's been some good developments with Riri and how she's dealing with Natalie.
Yeah, and this was also the episode that actually revealed that Ezekiel was Obadiah's son. He's keeping Obadiah's ashes in just a Ziploc bag
Yep.
in the pantry.
Just just sitting on a counter. Yep, we got an Obadiah Stane cameo, technically, you know.
There it is. I'll put that in the title.
Yeah,
Obadiah Stane cameo, and then I'll do like the question marks and exclamation marks and the arrows all
don't
pointing
forget
at the
arrows,
bag.
Yeah.
But yeah, so tonight's the job. She gets the suit upgrades, and what's cool is the suit upgrades are actually on her person herself, not actually in the suit. So basically, Riri wants to analyze the hood's hood because she wants to understand its power and possibly like use that technology or magic, because it is magic. She wants to use the magic and maybe perhaps apply it to her suit or whatever. Or just, she doesn't even have to re-engineer it. She just wants to understand what the heck it is.
Yeah.
So she got these laser cutters to cut the hood because it's made of a very specific material that is pretty durable. So that's what she wanted the cutters for from Ezekiel. But like I was mentioning earlier, the detectors are going to detect it. So she got a mesh to put over it to get over to bypass the detectors. And basically, while they're doing the heist mission, everyone thinks that she is inside the suit, but in reality, Natalie is actually controlling the suit, and Riri is outside the suit doing her own mission, working covertly, secretly to try and get that piece of the hood. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought this was a cool dynamic. Of it, like we mentioned, that they set up how Natalie can use the suit, and obviously nobody else in the crew knows about Natalie. Riri's been doing a good job hiding that from basically everybody except for her mom. So yeah, it was she can kind of be in two places at once.
Definitely. So she definitely failed getting the hood a few times.
Yeah.
And the hood also failed at getting the contract signed over from the company's CEO. And while that does not go well, eventually she does get a piece of the hood's hood finally, but the hood does end up killing a bunch of the guards as well during a really cool fight scene, I do want to add.
Yeah, there were some pretty cool fight scenes in the show so far.
Yeah, his ability to just go invisible and shoot those bullets that bend to his will are just really cool.
Yeah, such a cool character, man. He's awesome. I really hope that he by the end of the show they find a way to like set him up for future projects. Like I hope this isn't the only time we see him. Obviously that we're gonna get more developments with whatever is like powering the hood, you know, so maybe that's going to set up another story for him. But yeah, I'm curious to see what they're going to do with him.
Yeah, I hope they don't kill him off.
I really hope they don't.
I hope not.
Yeah, I don't imagine they would.
No.
Yeah, I hope not.
Yeah. So anyway, Riri eventually gets a piece of the hood, but in order for her to actually be able to cut it, she has to reveal the weapon because it's concealed under that mesh that's under her suit. Because she's wearing she has her Ironheart suit, like the mechanical one, and then she's wearing like a mesh tracksuit under it, and that's what's covering the weapon. So, but she has to like reveal her sleeve a little bit to cut it. So when she's revealing it, it's setting off the radar for the weapons that the facility has. And that screws the rest of the crew over because they are stuck in a room that is filled with a bunch of mushrooms. I know, crazy, because the company was testing these mushrooms for their biomechanic applications. And
Mhm.
what happened was Hood was originally going to use these to threaten the CEO if he didn't sign the contract. But since Riri set off the alarm by revealing her bioweapon too long, they trapped the crew in all of those rooms and started pumping a bunch of CO2 into those rooms, basically slowly killing them as they run out of oxygen entirely. So as soon as they find out that that's happening, Riri is on the run, trying to escape with the Hood's piece of cloth, or the Hood cloth. And
Mhm.
the cousin of Hood finds her, and he's like, "What the heck are you doing with the Hood? The
Yeah.
piece of the Hood? What are you doing?" So they start fighting. And luckily, not only did Natalie save the other crew members from dying from CO2 poisoning, Riri was able to hold off the fight against the Hood's cousin long enough for Natalie to also come save her. But the Hood's cousin got stuck in the room at the end,
Yeah.
dying from CO2 poisoning.
Yeah. Yeah. This was crazy, bro.
And she could have saved him.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought about that too. Yeah. She got the suit and she dipped.
She just
Uh,
dipped and
yeah.
closed the door behind her, did not check.
Yeah.
And then they all meet back up, and the Hood's like, "Yo, where's my cousin? Riri, go look for him." She's like,
He's like,
"I'll go look for him. I'll go look for him."
okay,
Yeah.
sure, for sure.
Oh, he's on the floor. He's not moving. God damn it.
How did he
That
get there?
sucks.
Oh no, how did that happen?
It's like, no.
Yeah. There was this Darth Vader moment. Yep.
So everyone goes home, and Riri realizes, oh crap. During my fight, I lost my laser cutter. It dropped on the floor.
Mhm.
And Ezekiel gave her that laser cutter, but he got it and modified it in a way that would only be traced back to him. And he was super apprehensive to give her this piece of technology.
Mhm.
And she said, "Don't worry. I'm a good person. Trust me. I'm not going to screw you over." But now that piece of technology is left at that facility, and she remembers that, and she starts having a freaking panic attack.
Yeah. Yeah, she starts panicking, understandably, honestly. If I was in that situation,
She
I would be
screwed over
panicking
a
too.
friend and herself.
Yeah, yeah, totally. 100%. Yeah. Yeah, this was a I think a good climax to end episode 3. Obviously, it wasn't like the very end. There's also another scene with Hood, but yeah, this was a good way. I think this is a good spot to for them to leave off with Riri's character, because now she's gonna have to, well, first of all, calm down, and then second of all, figure out what she's gonna do from here.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And the Hood is so pissed because he thinks that it's his fault that his cousin died, because his cousin said, "We shouldn't do this, man." And he's like, "No, you don't see the bigger picture. We need to do this. We need to gain control."
Mhm.
And they didn't gain control, and he died.
Yeah.
So now he's screaming at the Hood, "Isn't this what you wanted? Is this what you
Mhm.
wanted? You know, F you. I can't believe, I ever did this deal with you in the first place," type thing.
Yeah, yeah. He said, like, I trusted you, John trusted me. Like, so obviously he feels some guilt with this. I mean, John like did talk him out it successfully, but then he
He was
just,
slighted, and then
yeah,
he couldn't shake it.
yeah, he couldn't deal with it, and he went through it knowing that it was risky. And John, I mean, the sensible one was the one that had to pay for it.
I know what I'm doing, John. I know what I'm doing. Dude, like, as much as I despise Donald Trump, he is a very fun person to impersonate.
He does have a very impersonable. Impersonable, is that a word?
Yeah,
It's
impersonable
easy to,
personality.
yeah.
Personally,
Yeah. It's easy to make fun of him.
yeah. But yeah, so episode ends off with Hood cursing the Hood, and the Hood is like, you think you can say all this stuff to me and not face any sort of backlash? So then he starts seeing visions of his cousin dying and choking out from CO2 poisoning as like I'm gonna say like a repercussion for him questioning the hood or telling
Mhm.
it off.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was a pretty crazy thing for them to do to Parker. I mean,
Yeah, and not
but
only that, sorry, yeah, go.
oh no, I was just gonna say, but yeah, like that's you know, like the repercussions, you know, for like questioning like the power that he's given part of himself up to, you know, there's gonna
Hmm.
be consequences to that.
Yeah, and I feel like now that since he told it off and it's haunting him with these visions, since already corrupting him as we saw with it literally physically corrupting his body, I wonder if
Hmm.
he's just gonna be like, you know what, I'm in too deep. I just need to let it become me.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like there's gonna be an increase in like maybe how quickly it affects him or like how like deeply it affects him, you know. But I definitely feel like it's definitely gonna be picking up quite a bit.
Yeah, I totally agree. Future episodes do show them fighting more,
Mm,
and Riri is going to upgrade her suit again, so she's going to get a new suit. So that's pretty
okay,
cool.
that is pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Um, I don't really know what to expect moving forward, honestly. I
Yeah.
could really go in a lot of ways. I mean, obviously, she needs to stop the hood and her crew. I don't think she's gonna do any more jobs with him. I think
Mm,
she's done. But like, and she's gonna have to deal with the repercussions of her leaving the stuff. And I don't know if she's gonna be
yeah.
able to get access from Ezekiel anymore. So she might have to turn to someone else. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah. True. And yeah, there's definitely gonna be some bonds broken and some relationships tainted going forward. So yeah, I'm interested to see what they're gonna do with her character.
She should call James Bond.
Yep, that's gonna be yeah. James Bond
He
introduced to
will
the
he you
MCU.
know he's like, I don't need magic bullets, I just need bullets.
Yeah, yeah, he's good. His aim's good.
Yeah, so yeah, that wraps up our episode for reviewing Ironheart episodes 1 through 3. Thank you so much for watching. I know this was a thick one,
Mm,
lot to cover here. Episodes 4 through 6 are coming out on Tuesday, so we will probably be releasing the review for those on Thursday, maybe Friday, one of those days. But yeah, our next episode hopefully being released tomorrow. We are aiming for it to be released tomorrow. We're going to be going over the recap of just MLB, our predictions, and also going over the National League playoff race as well, and any other major stories or events that took place since our last baseball episode. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. We really appreciate you guys watching and sticking through. We love making this content for y'all. If you have any topics that you want us to discuss, leave them down in the comments. And thank you for choosing us to watch today. We hope you have a great day, and we will catch you on the next one. Peace.